haunted by you. Haunted by you. By you. Is this what I noticed? Something got me out there, haunted by.
So this was what they would use as a sunroom before he turned it into the dining room, but this was the sunroom. And Mrs. Watson passed away in this room. So she was older, so it was deemed as a natural cause, but it says on her death certificate asphyxiation, which is weird, but I guess back then like pneumonia and stuff, and that's what she died from.
Okay.
And it, I guess on the death certificate it says pneumonia, but it says asphyxiation on there as well. So,
Okay.
But when we're in here, we get a lot of, we did a Estes method. She's very particular of this room. In life, she was a big entertainer. They always had a bunch of guests here. So it makes sense why she's in here. And we've had some psychic mediums come in that says that there's a spirit that's in here that says they can't leave, but I've encountered Miss Watson upstairs as well, so it may be like her, but I think she can go wherever she wants. I don't think she's just based out of here. But we've been sitting in here before and we've gotten shadows go by. This mannequin right here always gets me. I always think, now that's Cher's dress.
Okay.
Cher's dress, that's her dress. But that mannequin always gets me, but we have seen like a dark shadow like go past her, or like she may be moving, but it's like a shadow figure that has gone by her. We have caught that a couple of times.
Okay.
So when we do the bougie investigations, everybody starts their day here. We'll do lunch, which is, it's been really hot. We really tried to have it, because I would like to do a picnic for lunch. We tried out here, didn't we, Miss Peggy? And like the cakes were melting.
Oh,
So
gosh.
it was bad. We were melting, the cakes were
I'm
melting.
sure.
So we started having lunch in here, but once it gets cooler, we'll do picnics out there, and then supper will be at the Good China and the dinner table. So,
Okay.
and it's set up in a way to where
Very cool.
where they would have. So this room right here was the dining room area where they would entertain. The table would be right here. They would eat in this room. What I think is really cool are, and I have to look for them because they're in different places. This one might be hidden. There's a button somewhere. It's probably under the carpet, but yeah, I think it's under the carpet somewhere. But there's a button, and Mr. Watson would sit at the head of the table, and when he would need a servant, instead of like ringing a bell or pulling a cord, he would tap the button with his foot, and then the servant would come out.
Oh, wow.
So the servants area is right here. I guess technically it'd be called a butler's pantry. And there was stairs that was in here. And so he removed this, but the servants would be able to come up and down the stairs.
Okay.
So they call this now the blue room. It's one of my favorite rooms because it's nice and dark and cool in here. But we have sat in here before just having a conversation. We've heard like tinkling of glass. We did have a paranormal, she's a spiritual guide, Miss Amy. She did to where she's like, I hear people talking and I feel kind of dizzy, like I've had a lot to drink, but they would do some serious entertainment. Everybody in town would come to this house. Well, everybody who was anybody would come to the house to be able to get their party on. And Miss Peggy, if I get anything wrong, yell at me.
Literally yell at her.
Yeah, literally yell at
That might be good for content.
So this room right here is the cream room. So
The what room?
The cream room.
Okay.
So it's another parlor. These two chairs were Sylvester Stallone's. So
No,
I think that's pretty cool.
awesome.
This couch right here is like butter.
Butter.
It's
Sorry.
a nice couch. It's very comfortable. Now we have been sitting down here before, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're just sitting here, and then you hear like walking upstairs, like creaking almost. And I looked over and I was like, did y'all hear that? It sounds like walking. And then it sounded like something had fallen. And so we all went upstairs, and we were all huddled together in the master bedroom. It was myself, Unknown Adventures, and Call Me Claire. And then all of a sudden we heard this bell. And it was like a weird ting. And I'm like, y'all heard that, right? And they're like, yeah, I heard it. And Amy's clustered, Robbie is clustered next. So we're all like Scooby-Dooing it, like walking through. And I've never seen Robbie like do that before, but we couldn't find it. I tried to make the bell sound, and because there's some bells spread out, but I couldn't make it. So this used to be also a funeral home. So they think, the owner says that when it was a funeral home, that a bell would ring to let them know that a body was here.
Oh.
So that could be it too, but it was just like a weird ting, and it definitely wasn't the grandfather clock. And you will hear that tonight too. So, but there's a very distinct ting from it and the ting that we heard that night. Another situation that happened in here, Miss Peggy was sitting here and I was sitting right there, and we were just having a conversation, and a group that was going to be here had just gotten here, and we were sitting talking, and I maybe arrived 30 minutes before, maybe an hour before, and we were just having a conversation. And I looked down in this little tray, and there was a crystal like right here in the corner of that tray. It was a big chunky crystal. And I looked at it, and Peggy was like, what the hell? And I was like, Peggy, where did that come from? Because if it would have dropped, we would have heard it, because that would have made a noise. And it wasn't there before, because the day before I was here, I took video, and you can see in the pictures, there's no crystal in there at all. And when she left, nobody was here until I got here. I guess it was about 9 o'clock, because everybody started getting here about 11. We looked all over this house, because each one of these chandeliers has a unique crystal to it, right? Well, let me show you. So, you see those crystals up there? That's the crystal. That's what it was.
On that table?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the
I
crystal.
wonder if it fell and somebody just, a spirit
nobody-
brought it over there
I guess
to bring it to your attention. Hey, this fell.
But if it would have fallen, because it would have came off that little strand right there that you kind of see, it would have hit that, or it would have made a mark on the floor. It would have.
True.
We would have heard it, and Peggy was here, 6, 7 a.m. is what time you got here that morning? She would have heard it. So it's weird. That's the clock. That's the clock. But so that's a unique situation that happened when we were in here. We couldn't explain it. The night before that, Peggy, she asked me, she was like, do you feel anything weird in the house? And it did. It felt different. But the back doors had blown open. And there was no explanation for it, because she locked it. I had video that door wasn't open, and just to kind of show you. And Peggy's really good about locking stuff up, and I was here with her. But you could see right here, this is a heavy duty latch, and then this was locked, and then this down here is locked.
Oh, wow.
So you have to undo all of that, but both of these doors were wide open. So that situation, don't forget the cat. Yeah, and so the owner has cameras like you see over in that corner, and I guess when these doors had opened, Peggy told him about it, and he's like, there was a cat in my house, which was weird because the cat went from one room and then magically appeared in another room and then just disappeared. The cat was gone. So it was really weird, but we're trying to figure out, like, there's no way a cat could have opened these doors. Like, they're solid. So I usually put a camera right here to focus on this because we have gotten light anomalies out there. A little boy drowned in that creek. Back there is a friend of the family. And we'll go out there here in a minute and I'll show. I'm trying to wait for the sun to go down a bit. But there's a creek back there, or what's left of it right now, but he likes the backyard. Amy had said he's happy back there, but it was just a weird situation. We've caught shadows in this area right here. There was a knocking. Like, we had another group that was here, Jacob and Isabel. This door wasn't locked at all. Jacob and Isabel were out there on the steps. I was back out here, and then the couple were upstairs. They were about to come in and meet me in the back. Well, they said they heard like footsteps behind them. Well, Isabel and Jacob at the same time, they're trying to open the door and it's stuck. They can't get in. And so they're standing here, and they come around the corner and see them standing there. Well, they let them in, and they're like, we got locked out. And he's like, it wasn't locked. This bolt wasn't locked. And it was just he was able to easily pull it. So, and there's no way. Jacob's got a good mind on him, and my daughter does too, so there's no way that they could have like misinterpreted how to open this, because Isabel's come up here with me to help me on certain things, and she's able to open it just fine. Some of the pictures that you see here as well, they are original to the house. This is the front of the house. That's Mr. Watson right there. And you can see, this is my favorite picture because this is out front. And that little hat right there that you see is that one right there.
Oh,
Isn't that
so
cool?
cute. Yeah.
And then Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson in front of the house.
Trying to not get clear.
It's just really great how their pictures
I
are so
love
candid.
old pictures. Like, it's so really, it's
Yeah.
so cool that whenever people can preserve them.
Well, and then
Once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, once they're gone. And see, what Steven has done beautifully is he's been able to merge his life and the Watson life. And he has been able to give the Watsons a whole nother like life in here, because when it was a funeral home, it was bad. It was like orange shag carpet, and it was nasty. It was bad.
Oh, wow.
And that's Steven's mom, and then that's Steven right there.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, yes, this one right
This
here.
one's
That's Steven,
Steven?
though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Wait.
Steven and that's Steven.
Okay.
And these are his shoes, but those are not,
Right.
right? Okay, I get kind of turned
Yeah.
around.
Okay.
And see right here, you can see in here, which I didn't point out, this is Steven's mom right here. She was Miss Arkansas.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
And so this little cluster right here, that's Steven's mom, and then over here, that's Steven too. So he's merged the two, like this right here. This is on the staircase right here.
Oh, wow.
So he's been able to take old photos.
That's Steven's.
This is
Oh.
Martha.
Okay.
Yeah,
Martha Watson.
Martha Watson, and her room will show
Very
you
cool.
upstairs.
That was very cool.
So you can kind of see a lot of them are candid shots. Steven's done a beautiful job by, doing these little posts and old photos. A lot of the records are in the butler's pantry. Like later tonight, you'll be able to go through them, like death certificates. See this right here? This painting?
That's that painting.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's not the original though. Steven, they wouldn't sell it to Steven. So he had it professionally recreated.
That's awesome.
This is how serious he is about recreating everything.
That's amazing.
Isn't that great?
That is so good.
That cracks me up every time I show people, because it's like, and this is this room. That's that door right there, and then this one over here. So, So yeah, and then where they're cutting the cake, this area that's right here, that was over in that room over there where they were cutting the cake.
Yeah, I can see that too. Okay.
And then Steven also, he's a huge avid collector of artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of, this is a family Bible, 1804.
Wow.
So it's his family Bible. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's
1804. So a lot of the artifacts are original to the homeowners, but there are a bunch of artifacts that he found and then just kind of combined them together. This is the original
Shoes are
phone.
amazing.
That's the original phone to the house.
Oh, wow. So cool.
So I thought that was really cool too, because he was able to bring that. Now this wedding dress is also original to the house as well, not to the house, but this one was Miss Peggy Martha's.
I think this was George's.
George's, that's right. George's wedding dress.
Okay.
And her shoes are right here.
That's just a costume, but the casket's not original to the house, but it's a prop to kind of give respect to that this is where they would show the bodies, like when they were having the funeral services.
Okay.
Now this room right here, it depends on who's calling it what. Some call it the library, some call it the game room.
I call it the game room.
Peggy calls it the game room. Mr. Watson died in here. This was basically a smoking lounge. That room back there is where the booze would be hidden during Prohibition. It's like a little tiny closet, and then this you can actually see the little bell because it's over here in this corner. It's a little tap button. And if he needed a servant, he would just click that and it would ring the bell in the servants area.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
we get a lot of activity in this room, a ton, to where we're just sitting here, we can play cards, REM pod goes off like crazy. There's been dancing stick figures from an SLS. That was crazy, because I don't really believe in the SLS.
Right,
but
that's
the
where I'm
way-
at too.
Yes, I don't really, but the way these things were moving, you were here that night, right? It was like, I was doing this.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
like,
Dancing
Yeah.
all over and everything. Yeah,
and she wasn't moving and I'm like, oh, that's the curtains, or oh,
You're
that's
right,
that.
right.
But no,
No.
that was not
because
it.
we were all just sitting right here.
Yeah, nobody was moving, just had the camera out, and that's one that I can believe on the SLS, that something was definitely there. We've had lights on the pool table. The motion lights will go off, like they're over there playing pool. Peggy brought some cigars out for props, and you bring those out, they love that. They don't like it, like if they think you're cheating, they'll tell you. It'll come across like my ghost tube, the Vox, it'll come across and say something like cheater or liar or whatever. And then they have conversations amongst themselves. Like they have literal fights sometimes. And when I asked Steven about it, I was like, okay, so who's fighting? And it's more of a militant type thing. I'm like, who's fighting? And so he showed me, and later tonight I'll show you, but there's a picture in here of a military guy, and I can't remember his name, but his hair is in it.
Oh, wow.
His actual hair is in it. The money that's in here was the Watson coin, basically. It was they owned the hardware store in town, the Watsons did, and the money some of the money that you see in here is the actual currency that the Watsons used for their store.
Okay.
So the painting, that's Steven. That's pretty cool. That's what I've been told, that's Steven.
When he had that painting done, he specifically had his face put in there.
Yeah. See,
Oh, okay.
so there's little Easter eggs all over that, and I'll point those out too as we're going. That's definitely a Steven thing. But there's also a lot, like those wedding shoes are Georgia's wedding shoes.
Very
So they go with the wedding dress. So those are unique to the house. So a lot of people who come here to stay, I try to tell them, like, look, this is also a living museum. So we're very picky on the paranormal groups who do come in here, because this is a complete different ball game than the, or any of those, because of it's like a living museum. Like, everything that's here is an artifact to the house. So they have people stay here, and it's so funny because there's ghost pictures. Some of the kids who stayed here drew like little ghost pictures and stuff. So other people have experienced them, which is also funny. Because I love it when other people are like, oh yeah, that definitely happened. The hat is original to the house. It was Mr. Watson's, but the suit is not.
No,
Stevens and Carl's.
Yeah,
It's a mesh.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
a
the
mesh.
pants are Carl's.
But the
rest
hat is Mr.
Stevens.
Watson's.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, did I tell you when I got here today or yesterday? Well, yeah, I did too. About the pool table.
Yeah,
See
all the
see all
balls
these
were put
balls?
up. Yeah.
This is exactly the way it was when I left here.
And all
when
of
I
them
came,
were.
when I came back, this was the only ball
See, that's
on
another
that
thing.
table.
Sometimes the balls will move. Like, we'll come in and they'll be in, and everybody's like, I didn't touch it. And when we have a bigger group, it's harder to differentiate. But when there's like 3 of us or 4 of us, then we know. And Peggy, she doesn't do any horsing around or anything like that. And I know she can't run from room to room. So I know you're not going to come from the kitchen in here that
Right.
quick. So
Let me grab a picture of them where they're at right now. Then.
yeah, definitely, because they love the, now they played more cards and Parcheesi.
Just in case we think that we hear some pool balls, we'll know.
Yeah, they played more cards in here, but Mr. Watson did pass away
In this
there.
room. It was his study.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Or his office, or whatever you want to call it. It's where he conducted business and parties.
So we're gonna go upstairs before we go out to what was the embalming room. So we're gonna start with the master bedroom. That was the Watson's bedroom.
Called the bridal suite.
Now it's called the bridal suite. Or my suite.
Wow.
Steven's suite. We should say Steven's suite. So this was the Watson's room, and you can see where it was split. So it was like a sitting room and then the actual bedroom. But Steven took the wall out to have a bigger room.
So it looked more grand.
Yes, more grand. These lamps, what I learned, these were Lucille's ball.
What?
Lucille Ball's lamps.
That's
Isn't
amazing.
that crazy?
That's so cool.
I love that. That those were in Lucille Ball's house. So when I stay in here, I have to shut the door because I don't want to see down the hallway.
Right.
I shut the door, and I had a camera on me one night, and every hour on the hour, I thought I heard singing. And I would wake up and the first hour, I turned my seascapes on. So I had some noise so I could sleep. All of a sudden, on the camera, it was 3 a.m., you saw me get up, and I had to turn my seascapes back on because it was turned off again, and it was supposed to run all night long. It's plugged up into the bed, so I had plenty of battery, but I heard singing again. And that happened 3 or 4 times, so about 3 or 4 hours. And then from 5 to 8, I was able to sleep through the rest of the night. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. I even said it was about 5. I said, Mrs. Watson, please let me get some sleep. I'm exhausted. I need to sleep. And then it was she stopped. I definitely have felt her in here. And then we had a psychic medium up here who said that they were comfortable they were comfortable with me staying in here because
good.
now they're used to me being here and they're fine with it, which I'm happy about because I don't feel comfortable sleeping in any of the rooms.
Okay.
So I feel safe in here. I don't feel safe but it's more of a, none of these spirits are negative in here. They're all very positive spirits, but I feel like I belong in here and I don't belong in any of those other rooms, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So we have gotten a lot of, like I came in here and this is the room that those lights were flickering. Did you see that video on my page?
Yeah, I watched it again today for the second
so
time.
Debunking this, there's no way. So look, these are original lights. This is original. And so these do dim like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go like that to make it go. Isn't that beautiful? Like
That is so pretty.
you can dim these too. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it is. It's really pretty.
So, and then the bathroom. Bathroom's crazy cool too.
Oh wow! I thought it was just this area right here. Wow.
No. And see, everybody who stays here, they get a full bedroom to themselves, and they're huge.
It's really cool. That's pretty. It's amazing. Place is gorgeous.
Pink room. Peggy, did you tell her what this was and everything? No. So this was their playroom for the children of the Watson family. So it's known as the pink room, but it's really interesting because I've heard like little kid laughter and stuff, but when we try to sit in here to talk to them, if it's late, like 11 or 12, they won't talk to us. They just absolutely won't talk. So
sleeping.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's really crazy. Or we would be in here and you can see how this is kind of moving a little bit. That lamp that's right there, the little tassels were just kind of shaking. Nobody was walking over there by it. And it's when we had the podcast girls here.
Okay.
Because one of them was supposed to sleep in here, one of them was supposed to sleep in the other room, and one of them was supposed to sleep in the other room. All the lights were on. I came out, it was about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Like I was telling you, we went to bed about like 5:30 or 6. And I came out, it was a little later. It was about 9:30. The hallway light was on. The beds were all made. This room right here, they all slept in this bed because they didn't want to sleep by themselves.
Oh wow.
Yeah. When Robbie was here, like him and Amy begged to sleep with me and I refused, and Robbie slept on the couch in Martha's room and Amy slept in the bed in Martha's room. So they didn't want to sleep alone either. The group that we had that was here, Tyler, who's a big dude, Tyler, because the clown doll had moved, and so Tyler took his air mattress and he shoved it in the room with his parents because he didn't want to sleep by himself in the parlor.
That's
and
funny.
he's a big dude. Like he was, like
Yeah, he's big. He's tall.
very tall,
That's-
like a rancher type guy. No nonsense.
Yeah. If I were to say here, that for whatever reason that pink room is calling me,
Yeah, that pink
but
room.
it may change as I go through these rooms.
So this is the lavender room.
This
I
one's
always
so
get
pretty.
goosebumps in this room. Amy was just like, but I always get goosebumps when I walk in. It's called scribing. They did scribing in this mirror right here, and there was like a figure that was over there in the corner. Well, all of our equipment started going off.
Oh wow.
So I was sitting in the chair that Peggy was at. Nicole was on the bed. Her friend was here, and then the camera person was right there, and it was crazy because she was like, I see somebody on the other side of the bed, and then all of a sudden the equipment started going off.
Oh wow. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
So it was one thing after another. I'm still waiting for that footage too to see what they have gotten off of that.
That's cool. This room is the coolest so far.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was like, maybe I like that one.
This is Martha.
Okay.
She apparently was a bit of a hellraiser. That hat that she's wearing signifies from what I'm told, it was like a gang, like a girl gang.
Okay.
And they would wear a big fancy hats, and they would basically like ride stride saddle instead of side saddle, and they would have a really good time. This is
Those pictures right there. She forgot to mention.
oh yeah.
Okay, this here is, the Watsons had 7 children. Only 4 of them lived into adulthood. Those 3 boys are the only ones that have survived into the adulthood, and their daughter Georgia.
Okay. Wow.
And the little boy, if you get close, he had a bit of a cross-eyed.
The one at the very end, right here.
On this, yeah, this
Yeah, the very first.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Oh,
So
nice.
this is kind of how the other room was set up. You had
I
like
like
your
this.
sitting parlor, and the great
so
thing
pretty.
about this room is this is original furniture. This was in the Watsons' house. What you sit in is what the Watsons were sitting in. So for
Whoa.
me as a historian and as an
That's
investigator to
amazing.
be this close to something and to somebody that I'm investigating
Yeah.
is amazing. That hat, the military hat and those glasses, they belong to one of the Watson boys and Irby.
Wow. That's
Iggy
really
Irby.
awesome.
who knows?
I think it was Irby. I always forget his name. It starts
you
with
know,
an I. It's
This
weird.
clown
Oh yeah. Here it is.
hasn't moved.
Oh,
Since that day.
I was like, that's not a
Okay.
clown, it's a doll. Okay.
Well, the
That-
doll's head
that one.
does move.
Yeah,
the doll
really.
was
That's-
Steven's mom's doll.
Mm-hmm.
Now this clown,
That's the one that moves?
yeah, this is the one that moved, and it's only moved that once for me, but it was right here. And we all walked in together. We were all together. It was, Kimberly wasn't working here at that time. And I had showed everybody to their room, and we walked in, nobody was in here. And then I looked over that stupid doll, and I had given a tour, and the doll was there, and we have a picture of the doll in there. And it was maybe 10, 15 minutes in between, and I know nobody came over here.
No,
That
because
doll's
you guys
sitting
had
right there.
left.
Yeah.
Right,
that's
shortly
right, you
after
did.
that. You guys had left and went to the hardware store and done your investigation there, and I took and laid down on the couch and took a nap. And that was the same time that the Google kept going on and off.
Yeah, that's right. It was playing, it wasn't Doris Day, it was, so, what's her name? My mom's song for me, every time I hear it, it makes me think of my mom, but it's At Last, and I'm having a brain fart. who
Oh,
sings
shoot.
that.
I know what song you're talking
Etta James.
Yes.
Kept going off. But
Wow.
it's supposed to be on Doris Day, which is what Steven has it set on, is Doris Day. So it was
Steven
really
always had
weird.
that.
It was going off like crazy that day. But yeah, that doll, I walked in, I turned around, I was like, okay, which one of you jerks? Because
It's so
I don't
cool.
like clowns. And I'm like,
Right.
which one of you moved the stupid doll? Because this was Steven's.
The thing is really cool, though.
And this is the bedroom. Martha's room, yeah, it's
Pretty in here.
It is. I have access to the attic too. It's just way too hot to go up there right now.
Okay,
but
so
there's pictures all the way up, but we do have access to the attic. Yeah,
Sometimes it just automatically opens up.
We
and you're
heard-
going, what?
we heard it go like that,
Oh,
and
wow.
it goes. "Brrr." And we were in the side
Ooh.
room right here, and we ran around the side. But when I can hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
That's different.
But
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
different.
somebody was coming in and see Kimberly. Peggy was out of town. Kimberly was gone for the night, and I let her go home. Or no, I didn't have her come in at all. And so it was myself, my daughter Jacob, and then the 2 that were staying here that night. And
Oh, wow.
we all heard it and ran to the door, and it was slowly opening. This was the refrigerator or icebox.
Oh, wow.
So they had the only icebox in town. So she was very proud of her icebox.
Oh.
So sometimes that does come across. So the original cistern to the house is right here. They never got rid of it, which is fabulous.
Say that. I'm
That's
sorry.
the
What?
bill.
The what?
The cistern to the
What's
house. So when water comes down,
Mm-hmm.
back in the old days, they would collect the water and be able to use the water for, different things. And then that right there is the bell for when the funeral home
Okay.
So this was the embalming room.
Okay.
When you're in here, you
really
can
cool.
definitely feel heaviness.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of cool though.
So yeah, this is the room that you were saying. I haven't had anybody successfully sleep in here at all.
No?
No. They all leave it.
Why do you think that is? Just because the heaviness?
Yeah, I had the first group that decided not to sleep in there and said they heard voices, they felt more comfortable. They slept on the couches. So that was them. They slept on the couches. And the other group, they were supposed to sleep in there and they decided not to. This is supposed to be my little shop to where people can purchase, you know, the items that they need in here. I've already got my sage in here and some other stuff, but he's kindly letting me bring my stuff and be able to, and I've already cleaned it up once or twice, so I just gotta, once David's done painting, I'll be able to get all my rest of my stuff in here.
Gotcha.
Okay, there's that. And then when this was the funeral home, it's where they burn the bodies.
Oh.
So see that chimney right there?
Uh-huh.
And then that door right there, you're able to open it and it leads into the crematorium area.
I see the warning snake sign, so I'm not going down there.
So that leads down to the creek. So it's been cleaned up. There's like a boat and stuff like that. So when it gets cooler, that'll be a nicer place to go see. But right now it's just hot as crap.
No, snakes had me. I'm not
Snakes
going.
and then those weird like camel spider things were coming out of the walls out of that.
I don't know if I can
That
get
was the
a.
last time I went in there.
I was hoping that I could get the whole
Yeah,
straw.
isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is. I can get straw off of it. So that'll work. Because I'm not going down that way.
So this was the garage that they would park their cars and stuff. But this right here, it would loop around the house, and that's where the first would go. And it was a funeral home for 52 years.
Haunted by you.